Hello everyone, Danny here today to talk to you about the audiobook Stanley Pargo in Suburbia, the Fantastico Portal. This is book 2 of the Stanley Pargo series. It is a book that was requested. It is a book that it's a middle schooler book, but I am going to give a warning about the book in the video because there's a portion of the book that I can think of one of my sons, it would not have enjoyed. It might have upset him. I can think of another one of my sons that would have absolutely loved it. So it's based on a certain personality type within children or young teenagers. I mean, it's middle school, so they're like, junior high age kind of a thing. But before I get to that, I have a favor to ask. If you love audiobooks, please subscribe to my channel. Turn on notifications. Join me in my audiobook journey. Now, if you saw my review of book one in the series, you'll know that was a book that I really recommended for like the entire family. It had kind of this quirky, funny kind of humor. It had vivid imagination. It had an excellent narrator. Book 2 picks up the story. So you have Stanley who wakes up in the middle of the ocean in a floating hat and is rescued by a talking bird and meets the crooked professor in a crooked house. And it's got some adventure. Book 1 has a moment where he deals with something dark and kind of scary. But the book never has this dark feeling to it. It always has this kind of a quirky feeling to it. Book 2, almost from the very get-go, has a completely different feel to it. There is none of that quirky kind of humor in book 2. So, first off, when I first started listening to book 2, I got like 30 seconds to a minute into the book and shut it off and did a little research because I thought, I must have downloaded book 3 and missed book 2. What's book 2? It starts off, so book 1 ends with them heading off into the jungle to find Suburbia. Book 2 starts off with them at Suburbia. It becomes made clear very soon within the book that it was a very short journey. It didn't take long for them to get to Suburbia. Now, that's when things, to me, went kind of dark. And this is where you'd want to be careful. It's a middle schooler book, so there's no language, there's no sex, there's no anything like that. There's no graphic violence. There's nothing like that. But there is a dark tone and a dark feel to book 2. Suburbia is not a happy place. Suburbia is a controlled place. Everyone is lockstep, in line, does what they're told. It seems like the school principal, because he's forced to go to school, the school principal and one teacher just control everyone. And it is a monarchy. They control everyone. Everyone does what they want. They don't seem to be abusing or taking advantage of their populace, just extreme control. You will not speak until you're spoken to. You will walk in lockstep. I mean, it's like you're in boot camp. Everyone's like they're in boot camp. And they do not put up with anyone odd or strange. Stanley Pargo is different. And so they view that as odd and they view that as strange. And they immediately want to rein him in and bring him into line. Now, you get the feeling that this book is going to be about having the courage to stand out and be different. And in the end, Stanley is going to get a victory over this professor and this teacher, and he's going to wake up the town, and all of a sudden he's going to be accepted. That never happens. And when I say it has a dark feel to it, the narrator one contributes to this because that Philip Battley, who's the narrator, is an excellent narrator. And so he brings out the emotions and the feelings that Stanley Pargo is going through. Stanley makes one friend and him and his friend are different, and him and his friend are trying to fight the town, fight the teacher and the principal together. But they're given punishments because, like Stanley, he refuses to wear shoes, so he's given a punishment. And these punishments are quite honestly abusive. He's made to walk in bare feet on lava rocks. He's made to go clean up garbage in bare feet where they've embedded glass in the ground, and so his feet get cut up. They're made to go pull these thorns out of the ground that cause extreme pain. It is, to me, the punishments were abusements. And on top of that, there's verbal abuse. The teacher is constantly telling him that he's not loved, he's not wanted, he's strange, he's different. You were left out in the ocean on purpose. People didn't want you. Why did you come back here? You don't belong here. You need to leave. Gives it a really dark feel. And I raised 3 boys, and children are all different. I have a son that I really think would have loved this book. He likes that kind of dark feel to his books. The books that he listens to and reads now tend to be more, along the lines of a horror story or a scary, darker kind of a story. I have another son that was really sensitive to stuff like that, and I do think this book would have upset him. So you need to look at your children and their temperament before you just, okay, go ahead and let them listen to this book. It does have that dark feel, and I do think, one of my sons for sure, I'm sure it would have been upsetting for that boy. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to embarrass any of my children. But that was the one warning that I really wanted to give about the book. Now, the ending of the book, for me, was the best part of the book. And I don't mean that in the way, oh, the book's over. Thank God. No, I don't mean that at all. I did enjoy the book. The ending of the book, though, they discover the Fantastico Portal. And starting with the discovery of the Fantastico Portal, it continues that kind of this monster horror story feel, but now they're less battling abusive principal and abusive teachers, and now they're battling monsters. And it incorporates the town of Suburbia into that. It draws the town of Suburbia into that, even though they completely leave the town behind. It ends on a very interesting note that really leaves you going, where's this story? Where's this story going? What's coming next? What's going to happen in the next book? What's going to happen with Stanley Pargo and his search for Suburbia? Did he find Suburbia in the previous book? Has he found it now? Is he going to find it? Is he ever going to get answers to his questions? What a weird world Stanley Pargo lives in. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you like my channel, subscribe. Turn on notifications. Questions, comments, feedback. It's what the comment section is for. Please put them in there. But most importantly, no matter what else you do today, make sure that today you listen to at least one really good audiobook. And you know what? Listen to them with your children. I've said this in my other videos. If you're not listening to books with your children, you're missing out. If you're not reading to your children, you don't want to do the audio version of the book, great. Go buy the book, the print version of the book, and read it to your children. If you're not sharing books with your children, you're missing out. And I don't just mean that you're missing out on an opportunity to, expand their imagination. I don't just mean that you're missing out on an opportunity to build a love of books in them. I mean, you're missing out on an opportunity to connect in a very special way with your children. Me and my sons have a special connection over books. Me and my dad have a special connection over books. We were talking on the phone yesterday. We live a state away. We're talking on the phone yesterday. And what are we talking about? Good bit of the conversation was about books. So definitely, please, Listen to a good audiobook today, and if you have children, listen to it with your children. And I do recommend Stanley Pargo in Suburbia, the Fantastico Portal, with the one caution about the temperament of the child that you have listening to it with you. Thank you. Have a good day.